Uhuru comrades, Uhuru brothers and sisters, the Luwezi Kinshasa, the African Socialist International Secretary General, broadcasting on African Martyrs from London. We say Uhuru because that's the way we greet each other. And Uhuru is a greeting from the Uhuru movement. And the Uhuru movement is led by the African People's Socialist Party. And this is the party that was created in 1972 by Chairman Martyr, who is also the founder of the African Socialist International. And we just want to welcome everyone to this session on African Martyrs. And the African Martyrs is an institution, I would say, of the African People Socialist Party. Our aim is basically to institutionalize it. And this decision came from the Congress led by Chairman Martyr in 1981 in Auckland that proclaimed the 21st February for every year, basically the anniversary of the assassination of Malcolm X on the 21st February 1965 by the US government, to be a day of commemoration of all African martyrs around the world. It doesn't matter where we are, that's what we need to do. We need to proclaim 21st February as African Martyrs Day and commemorate all our fallen comrades everywhere. That's really important. And we also want to let you know today, due to technical difficulties, we are not on YouTube. So this session is only live, is only broadcast on our Facebook, USI Facebook. So please share it, tell your friends to join us, and so we can all commemorate basically all African martyrs. We just want you to know that African people, African nation, is a colonized nation. African people are colonized people, which means that no African dies naturally unless you are Obama or Kagame, unless you belong to the African people bourgeoisie. But for the rest of us, African people, we do not die naturally. We die because of colonialism, because of imposition of power, of white power over our lives. These are colonial conditions that are determined how long we're going to live, how we're going to live, where we're going to live, what we're going to eat, how we're going to eat, and things like that. So the point is, we do not die naturally. That's really important for every African to understand. And secondly, I want people to understand why we're doing this, why the African People's Socialist Party in 1981 called on Africans around the world to proclaim the 21st February in International African Martyr Day. We want to destroy, we want to put an end to the myth of invincibility of white power. We don't want any African anywhere to think that the power of our oppressors is eternal, is forever. It's not. Just talk to the Vietnamese, talk to the Chinese, talk to the Afghanistan, talk to the Koreans, talk to the Iranians. They'll tell you that the power of Western power, the white power, basically imperialist white power, is not invincible. And that is our obligation not only to say so, but also to organize ourselves and to defeat it, like other colonized people have done. That's really important. We also African people to understand that parasitic capitalist system is not permanent, it's not forever. this system that came into being at our expense, this system that came into being through slavery and colonialism, has to go. And this is our mission. The mission of the African nation and the leadership of the African working class, led by the African People's Socialist Party, led by Chairman O'Malley, our mission is to destroy parasitic capitalism. So nobody should think that this system is eternal. It's not. In fact, the system is experiencing severe crisis. This system is on a retreat. No leader, no white power leader basically, can be certain of the future of parasitic capitalism. So that's our obligation, to deepen that crisis. We want to make it obvious to every African, to every colonized, that parasitic capitalist system is under severe crisis, and we have to organize, prepare ourselves to go on the offensive so that we can end this system once for all. And we also want people to understand the African people bourgeoisie, of course, is not invincible. The power of Kagame, the Zuma, the Ramaphosa, the Museveni, the Obama, they rise as the leaders of African communities temporary. It came as a result of betrayal of our struggle for national liberation. The African petit bourgeoisie played a role in the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, in the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah, in the assassination of Thomas Sankara, in the assassination of Malcolm X, and so on. And their power is not forever. In fact, their power is shaky. The rule of Museveni is shaky. The rule of Kagame, all these neo-colonial sellout, their power is shaky. Their rule is shaky. Only thing is missing is the existence of a revolutionary organization, revolutionary party in the form of African People's Socialist Party, where these neo-colonialist leaders are located, so we can take them out. And we are over 1.5 billion. In something like 30 years, there will be over 2 billion African people on the planet. So the power of African people, the mass power, will be overwhelming. And there is no doubt that if this power is organized, if the masses of 1 billion of African people are properly organized under revolutionary leadership and principles of the African People's Socialist Party, I have no doubt we will overthrow not just sell out African petit bourgeoisie, but also the white imperialist bourgeoisie itself, including the entire parasitic capitalist system. That's the mission, as I said, of the African people. So it becomes important for us to recognize those of us who fight every day, and many of Africans who resist every day. We don't even know their names, their histories, how they look like, where they live. We don't know. What we do know is the best of our leaders who came to prominence, those who came to limelight, those who came to be known around the world. People like Malcolm X, brilliant African, who was defining what it means to be an African. He was contributing to what we might have to call African personality. What is the stature? What's the real stature of African is? Malcolm X was defining it. People like that. People like Sobuku, people like Steve Biko, people like Roger Watney in Guyana, people like that. Brilliant people, writers, philosophers, leaders, orators, you name it. They came to be known. They came to be known as leaders. They are advanced, leaders of African people. But there are people in the field, in the hood, in the factories, people like that, at workplace, in schools, Africans who stood up or who continue to stand up. People, Africans who are killed, we don't even know their names. There are many Africans like that. As we said in the beginning, there is no natural death for African people, for workers and peasants. You know, we die because of colonialist assault on us, attacks on us. So we recognize all colonized people are martyrs. It's not just Africans who are assassinated by our oppressors, but our enemy because of the political belief and leadership. As I say, people like Lumumba and so on, who are known martyrs, but there are also those who are lesser known. And we want everywhere, everywhere, around the world, everywhere, every village, every community, every slum, every place there are black people. We want you to take time to commemorate in a revolutionary manner, draw painting of those African matters, put them on a banners, organize a march in the memory, organize a meeting, organize a salute, organize anything you can do in a revolutionary manner where you are, where you're located, so we can not only hold them high, but raise them high, raise them high. You know, raise all African matters where you are, raise them high. That's what we need to do. So that every generation, every African, every living African, wherever they go, they cannot escape to meet the reality that in every neighborhood, everywhere we are located, there is a presence, there is a symbol of African martyrdom. We want that. It shouldn't just be that you have to Google to look for it. You go to the library, it has to be in your neighborhood, everywhere. Gonna organize, martyrs, poetry, dance, use our culture to, to the full extent possible, organize African martyrdom. Of course, most importantly, you have to join the African Revolution, which means you're going to join the African People's Socialist Party. That's what you do in final analysis. But we're calling on all of us, wherever we are, in the New Caledonia, in the Pacific Island, in South America, in North America, in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, in India, everywhere we are located, in Malaysia, wherever Africans are located, we have to hold and raise high the memory of all African martyrs. That's really significant. We say touch one, touch whole, which means that wherever an African has fallen, that African has to be remembered. And we in this presentation, we cannot name everybody we would like to, because this is an ongoing process. Our mission is to institutionalize these African Martyrs Days so that we can have a lot of programs, not just on the 21st February, so we can bring all these Africans who died in battlefields in many different ways, out of obscurity, so they are known. Wherever they are, Cameroon, we want to know what happened to the fight in Cameroon. We heard of the Union of the People of Cameroon, led by Nyobe and then by Felix Momier. They have to be known. We heard of Osende Afana. They have to be known. All the battles that took place in Cameroon there, all the martyrs, all the African martyrs, we don't know. We want to bring them up. Throughout 600 years of African resistance, there are countless of martyrs, countless of battles on a slave ship, on a plantation. All these martyrs, we have to tell the story. But the point is, the African martyrs, African martyrdom has to become a conscious act, a living part of our consciousness, wherever we are located. And that's really significant for us. So today, of course, is the 22nd of February. 21st was yesterday. We did one program yesterday, and that was in French. And as I said, our mission is basically to popularize the International African Martyr Day everywhere. So it has to be done in Portuguese, it has to be done in Yoruba, it has to be done in Zulu. Every single language we speak, our people speak, we have to organize, we have to institutionalize International African Martyr Day. This is just some of the things we want to basically to share with you. We are under imperialist system, which has created capitalism. These are one of the among many contributions Chairman Omar has made, where he clearly explains that it's not that basically imperialism is not, as Lenin said, capitalism raised to its highest development or something like that. It's rather the opposite. It's imperialism that is responsible for the creation of capitalism. And in the imperialist system, what they call, for example, trade, because the colonizers don't come to us and say we are imperialists. They don't say, they develop imperialism openly. When they come to us, mostly they say trade, but that's imperialism trade. That's imperialist trade. Because in what they call trade, there is no exchange of values, there is no exchange of wealth between African people and the oppressor white nation. What we do see is a transfer of our wealth, transfer of our labor, transfer of our culture, or theft of our labor, theft of our culture, but they call it trade. They have even a ministry of trade. They don't say they have a ministry of theft. They don't say that. In other countries, they say ministry of economics and trade and things like that. But in reality, they are ministries of theft of African labor, resources, talent, and culture. And this is basically part of the foundation of the struggle for African people. So we are involved in the struggle to repossess our wealth, to repossess our labor for ourselves, to repossess our culture for ourselves, to repossess power. Power. And this one of the things Malcolm X told us. And he said, power only respect power. So Malcolm X was not involved in some struggle to end racism, but to end colonialism, the power of white power, to take our gold, our coltan, to take our labor, to take our cocoa, to take everything from us. That's the power they have. So to end it, we also must achieve power at the expense of imperialist white power. It's simple as that. So people who died in a struggle to end colonialism, it doesn't matter if they had understood it or not, that was part of the struggle to achieve power over ourselves against our oppressors. They died for black power. So we want to remember, we want to commemorate, we want to rise, we want to hold high all those Africans who died in a fight for independence. Because independence is a fight for power, for black power. Forget all the propaganda that we see every year. Every single African country raises some kind of flag, meaningless flag, powerless flag. Flag that doesn't do nothing for us, doesn't represent anything for us. To say they're celebrating their independence. No, there is no independent African country. There is none. There is none. They sign a deal for indirect colonialism. That's what it is. That's what they did. They signed a deal. But the people are not in power. The African working class is not in power. It's African petty bourgeoisie which is in power. We the people are not in power. The workers are not in power. And the workers cannot achieve power as an individual because African petty bourgeoisie did not achieve power as an individual. It's a collective power. The power of Kagame, the power of Obama, the power of Mandela, the power of Museveni, Tshisekedi, all these forces is also a collective power. It's a class power. When they go to the AU, to the meeting of African unity, there is no such thing as African unity anyway. Just look how many borders we have in Africa. Just look how difficult it is to travel in Africa. Just look how many visas you need to get just to move from one place to Africa. And it's easier according to some African business people, it's easier for them to get visa to go to Asia than to go to African countries in our own continent. This is basically a statement of how bad neocolonialism is, as detrimental to Africa, to Africa's future, neocolonialism is. So the point I'm trying to make here, the struggle to institutionalize African martyrdom, the struggle to hold high African martyrs, is a struggle to defend, to advance the struggle of the African working class as well. I know we are oppressed as a nation, which means some elements also of the African petit bourgeoisie are African martyrs. Because the French will kill you, the French will attack you if you want to scrap the colonial pact, the French CFA, which now they have changed the name, they have given it a new name, but it's still the same relationship. They're going to call it the echo. I don't know why they're calling it echo. Maybe it's the echo of the CFA or the French CFA, you know, of the, basically, but it's the same thing. They killed Silvano Olympus. They killed him because Silvano Olympus in 1963, he decided he's going to quit the French pact and he's going to print his own currency. As soon as the French became certain that Sylvanus Olympia was going ahead, they killed him. They assassinated him. Sankara wants to be free. He wants to get out of the France, what they call France Afrique, or the French domination. The African petit bourgeoisie colluded with the imperialist bourgeoisie and murdered him. Why? Because Blaise Compaoré, who took power by assassinating Sankara, recognized that Sankara was not really a representative of the African petit bourgeoisie. He was rather a representative of the African working class who came to power with the African petit bourgeoisie, who considered themselves as some kind of radicals at the time. What I'm trying to say, if we want to go to power, there is no such thing as African working class individual power. We have to go to power. We have to achieve power as a collective, just like the bourgeoisie. Despite their talk of individualism, they are in power as a collective. Despite the differences, they have a collective position against African revolution. They are all united to keep African nation colonized. That's the only point I'm trying to make. Now that is really significant that we understand that the change we want is going to only happen through revolution, which means you have to be part of the African People's Socialist Party. And this way you can fight for a class rule for the African workers to achieve a class rule as part of the black power. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And the African martyrdom is really significant. It's really important for us because, as I say in the beginning, we want to destroy the myth of invisibility of white power, which means that we have, in the same process, to remove white power from using fear of death as a weapon to immobilize, to paralyze the African working class. We want to destroy that too. We don't want the African petit bourgeoisie in an alliance with white power bourgeoisie to impose fear. Fear. You will lose your life. You will lose your limbs. You will lose your family. You will lose your job. You will lose your house. You will lose anything to prevent you from taking a decision, from taking a stand. You're going to fight. Even death is better than to continue to live under daily humiliation, as you all know. We all know. Just go on Facebook. It won't take you long before someone sends you an image, a video for Africans being brutalized, being victimized by directly by white power or by indirect white power in the blackface, some police or army in Cameroon, killing and raping women and putting that on the video, on the Facebook. It doesn't take long. In your neighborhood, it doesn't take long before you get humiliated in a shop, wherever you're going to go, in school, on a bus, on a train. It happens 24 hours 7. National, international, daily humiliation of black people, the African nation. That's what it means to be colonized. It means you're humiliated every day. You like it or not, you're humiliated every day. You can't speak the truth wherever you go. At workplace, you're scared because you will lose your job. You will not be promoted. You'll be isolated. You will be bullied and things like that. That happens every single day. And to take a stand, to say, away with fear, we will fight back. We will confront police brutality. And we will even take the lives of our oppressors. That's what we want. That courage that we will do what needs to be done to be free. As Malcolm X used to say, by any means necessary. That's why we have to unite with the best of our leaders, with Malcolm X, with all those who say we have to be free. And we have to do everything that needs to be done. But as we hold those Africans who overcome fear and will fall back, this is not a substitute for joining the African People's Socialist Party. We want you to join the revolution, because the only way to maintain the struggle under high discipline, the only way to maintain our struggle in a strategic way, in a planned way, is to be part of the African People's Socialist Party. That's really important. That's it. Really, I can't just overstress that. We want you to join. We want you to join the African People's Socialist Party. You can do so if you're on the web, if you speak English, as this program is English, you can go on apspu.org. That's one way of doing that. And otherwise, you can join us wherever we are located. You can check us in South Africa. You can check us in the Bahamas. You can check us in London. You can phone us directly on 07723 067 You can check us in Paris. You can check us in Ghana. That's really important, you know. And we want you to join, so we can duplicate the opportunities to hold to raise high all African martyrs. That's really really important for us. And I just want to say a few more things before I don't know if people are making comments or not. But if you have any question or any comments, you can write it in a chat box, and then we will respond to it. So and what we want to do is we want people not to take African martyrdom, African martyrs, International Day as a one-off occasion, as something we just do on the 21st and then we go away. No, we don't want to operate like this. That's why I've been making calls for people to join. And also, I said one of our objectives is to institutionalize it, which means that it becomes an organized process with responsibilities in that process allocated to individuals who will be part of the process. So we can plan for it, which means we are organizing all day, all year long, what we need to do to to raise it. We begin to have projects, specific projects, which means that we will be working every month, depending how we set the immediate goals in different locations we're going to be. So what I'm saying, we are not saying celebrate, commemorate the African martyrs just on the 21st and disappear. No, institutionalize it. And the basic way I keep saying is to join the African People's Socialist Party, so we can be in the process of organizing all year round. So it's no one-off event, because we go to fight 24/7. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And of course, the 21st February, you cannot just talk about the African martyrs without reminding people of some of the most important principles or positions developed by Malcolm X. On the question of identity, Malcolm X understood very clearly the Africans in the US are Africans, which means also Africans in the Caribbean are Africans, black people in South America are Africans, and black people wherever they are Africans. Malcolm X understood it. Because he understood it, you saw Malcolm X traveling, going around the world, going to Africa, trying to unite the struggles happening in Africa and the struggles happening in America. Basically, he was a guardian. And today, the African People's Socialist Party, we are the one carrying out the legacy of Malcolm X, carrying out the legacy of Marcus Garvey. So we are the Malcolm X of today. We are the Marcus Garvey of today, because we're putting in practice, we're carrying out, we're developing on faith. We have developed, in fact, from where they left off. Not only we going to Africa, not only we going to the Caribbean, not only we going to the Americas, not only we reaching out to Asia, everywhere Africans are located, but we also provided the organization tool under whose leadership this unity, this process to unite black people needs to happen. Chairman Omali has developed the African Socialist International, which means now our struggles can be unified over being fought in different locations, in different fronts, but unified under a single leadership. It's a collective leadership. They have put all the leaders of those different African struggles in different locations fighting against a common oppressor, which is white power, imperialist white power, and fighting for a common objective, the unification and liberation for Africa under the leadership of the African working class, so we can create a black power state. And this is a precondition to build socialism on the planet. African working class must come to power, build the African nation, a unified African nation. And this is going to be a decisive blow that will determine if we're going to have socialism or not. That's why Chairman came with a slogan: the road to socialism is painted black. So Malcolm X was a giant, because he understood the international nature of our struggle and the international power that comes from the unification of those struggles. But as you know, he was assassinated, so he couldn't develop any further. And we, the African People's Socialist Party, have carried out that development. And that's why today we can talk to you about commemorating the African martyrs. In the same time, we're calling you to join us to build the African Socialist International. So that's the road to the future. And I just want to say this one, not only we're doing that, as you know, Malcolm X was a fierce critic of the aggression of Vietnam. You remember that? Of the Vietnam War, which was in the U.S. imperialist war on the people of Vietnam. This solidarity with other colonized people. That's what the African Socialist International is doing as well. Not only we're doing that, but we have a philosophical theory for African internationalism that only explains what's happening to Africa, but explains what's happening to the world. Is the philosophy of our time that explains the birth and, of course, predict the death of parasitic capitalist system. The point of view of the colonized African slaves that explains how the advent of the entire parasitic capitalist system. which means that we are not just explaining what's happening to Africans, we're explaining what's happening to the entire world. The entire world. And that's really significant. That's why we are confident to say today, anyone who want to see a better future, free from imperialists, free from any kind of imperialist aggression, exploitation, free from a world from split between the oppressed nation and the oppressed nation, free from a world split between the developed countries and undeveloped countries. What kind of development is that? That for one part of the world to be developed, they must underdevelop another part of the world. What kind of world is that? If you want a world free from that, you have to join, you have to become an African internationalist. That's really what the future looks like. And that's why we are confident. Outside of this crisis of imperialism, we see the future. Out of this chaos, we see the future. Out of this uncertainty, we see a certain future for the African nation, the African working class. And that's basically what we are trying to share with you. And I don't know if there are any questions or any comments. Please, we welcome your questions. We welcome your also your comments basically in the chat. And it's really to commemorate all those Africans. There are many of them who died on the battlefield around the world, in South America, in Colombia. We know there are death squad in Colombia. We know there are death squad killing Africans in Brazil, in favelas. We know there are death squad killing Africans in Africa. We just had the death of Kizito Muhigo, a singer, a gospel star, killed in police custody in Rwanda. There is no doubt that that brother was murdered by Kagame's police because it disagreed not only with the narrative of Paul Kagame on a genocide that occurred in Rwanda, but it disagreed with the vision of Paul Kagame. Paul Kagame's vision is a vision to serve white power in Africa, to split Africans into tribal groups, and to organize the murder on a large scale of African people. He did it first in Uganda, then in Rwanda, and now that's in the Congo. Because what you have as an army in the Congo, they call it FARDC. And the masses jokingly say the F stands for forces, A for arms, R for Rwanda, D Democratic Congo. So basically armed forces from Rwanda in the Congo. Basically it's a way of saying that to recognize that Kagame is playing a terrible role in the murder of African people in the Congo, in Rwanda, and in Uganda. And he must go. Not only must go, the whole system of passive capitalism in Africa must go. And the struggle against Kagame is a struggle to overthrow not just the borders, but all neo-colonial leaders, starting from those three states, Uganda, Congo, and the DRC in the Congo itself. So it's just Kizito, the singer, who died. As I say in the very beginning, we want to commemorate the nameless, the countless of 1,000, 100,000, if not millions of Africans who resisted every day, everywhere. We want to hold them high. You know them where you are, in your community, those who resist, those who we don't know. Nobody talks about them. We want them to be held up, and we want them to be remembered. We want to dedicate this program to all of them, to all these nameless, countless African martyrs who never hesitated to give the life, who overcome the fear imposed on us by our oppressors, and who fought back the colonial army, the colonial police, the colonial state, and met with death, but also took with them the agents of our enemies. That's what we're talking about. Remember Mark Essex? I think it was in 1972. That was in the US. He fought the US state there. We remember is Michel. I forgot the name. It was in Auckland. Yeah, sorry, I forgot the name. I thought I knew the name. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say that you know the names for all the African martyrs, wherever you're located, and we should hold them high. That's basically what we're trying to say. We want to say, long live all African martyrs. Long live African Revolution. Long live Malcolm X. Long live Sankara. Long live all African martyrs, wherever they are. That's our obligation, to hold them high, hold them high. And now, I don't know if there are any, since there are no any question, what we want to do is basically, for those of you who are listening, watching this, we want you to be in touch with us. If you are in the UK, the number to be in touch with us is 07723 067 486. And if you are elsewhere, if you're in the US, Canada, and elsewhere, you can go on apspguru.org. You can also be in touch with us. And we will ask you, if you're in the UK, to be in touch with us. You can get a copy of the current burning spear. That's how it looks like. And also, if you're in the US, you can join the big events that we're organizing on the 27th March. And you can contact us. You can contact us here. The phone is 240-326-3959. I repeat, 240-326-3959. And this is the Black Women's Convention, Sisters United for the Revolution. And this convention is led by the president for ANO, Yezide Olare Willie. And so if you can join us, that'd be great. So we just want to say thank you to everyone who took time to join us in this presentation on African matters. And as I said, we have to overcome the fear imposed on us by our oppressors so they can keep us down forever. And we say we must overcome that, because the rule of white power is not invincible, it's not forever, as it's been demonstrated by many times by other colonized people around the world, like the Vietnamese, the Chinese, the Koreans, people in Nigeria defeated the French white power. There's many examples. Even in Kenya, the Mao forced the British to retreat, and opening up possibilities of neocolonialism everywhere in Africa. And the Mao did that, you know. So we just want to have people to remember that we have to be sure that myth. It's a myth of invincibility of white power. It has to go. It's a myth that the African people bourgeoisie, neocolonialism is going to be there forever. All this is a myth. And also, the fear has to change side. The fear has to be in the camp of the oppressor. The oppressor have to come to a realization that Africans are prepared to do anything to be free. And that's really significant. And the starting point for all of us is to be organized under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. If you want to be free, you have to be a revolutionary, which means you go join the party. So I want to thank you all for taking time to tune in our Facebook and join us. So we'll look to see you next next weekend. And Uhuru, long live African martyrs, long live African revolution. Uhuru.